everybody, and welcome to Screamers for Scripture. My name is Brandon.
And my name is Michael, and today we had the absolute pleasure of talking
with Mitch from Pipe Bomb, an absolute legend. He's a classic, even though the band has only been around for I think 3 or 4 years now. But they have he has a new album coming out called Hellhole on March 18th. It is going to be an instant classic. So if you want to be, if you don't want to be a poser, then yeah, I said it. You'll want to listen to Hellhole on March 18th, and you can be one of those people who says, "I've been listening to Pipe Bomb since their first album."
You can be a real member of the Bomb Squad.
You can be, yes, exactly. And if you want to be cool, you'll order some of his drip, the vinyl coming out, But no, in all seriousness, it was a awesome conversation. You want to stick around for this one.
Absolutely.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Screamers for Scripture. Today we have the I think it's called Mathcore legend Mitch of Pipe Bomb with us. How you doing, bud?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me on.
That random comment actually is a question that leads into a question I wanted to ask. What is the specific subgenre that you put Pipe Bomb in? I've heard aggressive metalcore or chaotic metalcore. I've heard mathcore, and I know nothing about metal subgenres. This is all this is a facade. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say metalcore. I get the mathcore thing. I think there's definitely some mathcore elements of Pipe Bomb, and I want to incorporate more of that. But when I think of mathcore, I think about like Dillinger Escape Plan, and it's like I'm definitely not up to that level of mathcore. But yeah, I mean, same like energy. I've kind of been making jokes like on TikTok and calling it diet mathcore because I think that's actually like kind of accurate. But like chaotic metalcore, like I feel like a lot of the bands that like Pipe Bomb gets compared to are more chaotic metalcore, like Norma Machine, The Chariot. Like The Chariot sort of borders on mathcore, but like I don't know. I still consider them like a metalcore band. But there is kind of a crossover, like the metalcore mathcore crossover thing.
What is, and this is for viewers at home who don't know, what is mathcore?
I'm not going to lie. I was about to ask that if you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just metalcore in weird time signatures. So anything that's not in 4/4 and super easy to like bob your head
right.
To. Typically, it's a little bit less like chugga chugga than metalcore things, which is why I say there's a crossover. Like, there's plenty of metalcore bands that basically just play in 4/4, but like they don't have that chugga thing. They're kind of more chaotic and like angry sounding. And then mathcore, it's like I feel like you gotta have some odd time signatures, and that's why I call it mathcore. But yeah, there's some Pipe Bomb stuff that's in odd time signatures, but the majority of it is just like kind of ugly stuff in 4/4.
I see. That's cool. I know that's such a random question to start the interview on, but I was like, I keep seeing this word that's so foreign to me pop up in relation to your project. I'm like, what? I should know this as the owner of a channel, but I don't. But that leads me to my next question. You have an album coming out on March 18th, Hellhole, which people should listen to on March 18th, right?
Real.
What is the sort of, what was the idea going into it? Because I know like albums, I mean, maybe it doesn't, but albums typically have like one cohesive theme going into it, but each song is its own thing or whatever. What was the identity you kind of wanted to pour into that album, into Hellhole?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's one overarching theme. I think I was just angry about a bunch of stuff. And it's like, all right, I'm just going to put all that into one thing. And part of it was just like born out of necessity. Like I had a lot of demos that I was just sitting on for a long time and was kind of like, these sort of sound like something that Pipe Bomb would do, but I don't know if that's what this is yet, and then kind of like reinventing them and like, oh, this would be good for release. And I just kept doing that. And I was like, oh, I have too many for an EP. I need to like make this into an album. So yeah, like thematically, all the songs are about different things. But yeah, I mean, I guess there isn't really much of an overarching theme. I think it's just a lot of things that I was feeling at the time. A lot of things I was kind of angry about. I think that's kind of the line of Pipe Bomb is like, what's the amount of like aggression I can put into something while still having it be like sort of positive and like not like evil. I don't want it to be like evil music.
Yeah.
I want it to be like aggressive but also like cathartic. And then like kind of drawing that line of like, what's the limit I can go up to? Okay, there's Pipe Bomb.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different topics. I mean, some of it's more about like mental health, depression stuff, and kind of like the fight against suicidal ideology and the fight to kind of like live out of spiting that. Some of the songs are about like really messed up situations in my family and like how that made me upset and how people have kind of like ruined their lives over that. Like there's like some heavy stuff. And then on the other hand, there's some songs that it's like, it's just a song about being straight edge. There are like 3 lines in the song. It's a minute long song. So yeah, I mean, this kind of a spectrum to it.
I love that. I mean, that's kind of what this whole having music that delves into faith-based ideologies, that's kind of what it's all about, is how can we glorify goodness and truth through aggressive music. And that's why a lot of people are steered away from the genres. It's scary to them that people could scream positive things. It seems almost like it's impossible. And but having interviewed so many people in this subgenre, it's not only possible, but it's one of the coolest things ever. There's like we know anger is justified in certain circumstances. Sadness is justified, or I guess there's a better word for it, but it's not in my head right now. But it's like allowed. It's okay to be these emotions sometimes, and music like that really hits the nerve of like, what is these are things that people feel all the time, and music like that really is therapeutic, especially to people in feeling similar things in similar spaces. I'm kind of like, these are kind of word salads I'm using, so I apologize, but I really love that. I'm really glad that that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, and I think there's also like room. Like one thing that I didn't want Pipe Bomb to be is I feel like there's been a lot of Christian bands in the scene where it's kind of just like, and there's a place for this, don't get me wrong, like there's definitely a place for this, but like the lyrics are very straightforward. It's kind of like straight out of scripture, and it's very on the nose. And I'm like, cool. You think of bands like For Today, and like I feel like they were kind of like the kings of that, and that definitely had a place. And then there are bands more like The Chariot or something, where it's like, okay, there's something more hidden here. It's more poetic. It's not so on the nose, and that's always more where I've leaned. And I think regardless of which space you're in, like I just didn't want it to be another band that was kind of doing that thing, because I think there are other bands that do that way better. Like if I think of like No Treaty or something like that, like I think they're an example of that, where it's like they do that really well. I don't really think that I would do that super well. And so I think my space is kind of like this in between, where I think the people who aren't believers could like stumble onto it and be like, oh, this is sick, cool. And then actually look through the lyrics and be like, oh, there's like some kind of faith-based things here. There's some complex things here. And I think that's kind of where I've just ended up. But going back to the aggression thing, like I do think it's possible, like what you were saying, of like like righteous anger, having aggression in a morally good way towards evil. I think that that's not only fair and right, but like that should be expected.
Absolutely.
But I think it's also possible to have aggression that is not morally correct, and then to kind of grapple with that in the song in a way that's like, I know this isn't okay. I'm kind of admitting that now, you know? Or, yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of complexities to the Christian life, both in terms of like your response to things and your response to yourself. And so I think sometimes that's what Pipe Bomb is like a response to myself and the things that I'm feeling that like, I'm not promoting those feelings. I'm grappling with like, hey, I don't think this is okay, but I think this is all right. And then kind of drawing that line. But anyway, the aggression part of it is interesting because it's like,
yeah,
not all aggression is good, but I think you can make it good by how you explain it and how you kind of get it out of yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely. I really like that personally, because I think a lot of the time there's not really, especially in a lot of modern or maybe Western Christian circles, there's not a lot of spaces in which we are encouraged to just feel things and wrestle with those feelings. And because a lot of times it's like we like God's got you, you know? And it's like, okay, I know God has got me, but there's times when I don't feel like that's true. How do I wrestle with that? How do I hash that emotion out and bring it to reason? So the fact that Pipe Bomb is going for the response to my aggression or my anger and what is acceptable and what is not, I think that's a really cool theme. And it kind of reminds me of this. I'm pretty sure this is in Genesis, where Jacob is wrestling with, I forget if it's the Lord or the angel of the Lord. And it's something that is pretty symbolic for me and reminds me of what you were talking about with what you wanted to do with the music of Pipe Bomb, wrestling with yourself, with your aggression. And that speaks a lot to me personally, because there's a lot of times I feel that, and there's not a lot of spaces that I find in which I can openly be like, I'm not sure what to do, and I need space to just wrestle with this. So Pipe Bomb kind of leaning into that, almost creating that space to feel, is really, really cool.
Cool, man. Yeah, I think that's like, I think that's a space where a lot of people are kind of like, oh, even people who are not really into metal and are more into like kind of mainstream music within like the CCM world are kind of looking at CCM music and being like, I don't know if this is like doing it for me. Or at least acknowledging kind of a lack of authenticity there. And so I think drawing that line, like obviously you don't want to go too far and justify like sinful thoughts, or you know, like you want to still be in a space of respect and correctness toward like how you're portraying God or how you're portraying the situation, but you don't have to portray yourself as like being great or like, or even like, I don't know, you don't have to put a nice little bow on things, you know, you can let it sit there. But anyway, that's cool, you know, that you think that that's cool too.
No, absolutely.
And just a group of cool guys.
Yeah, just a lot of cool things going on.
No, but in all seriousness, I do think bands that, I mean, whether it's your intention or not, I do think bands that kind of bridge that gap are not only important, but necessary. I have genuinely seen people who are like, Christian music should only be worship, or Christian metal should only be worship music and nothing else. You're 100% right. There is a place for that. There's a place for Sleeping Giant, Holy Name, For Today, No Treaty. But there's also a huge place for Pipe Bombs. So that's probably not a sentence I should say, but I'll say there's a place for Confessions of a Traitor, Heal the Hurt, you know, bands that are kind of like, they kind of bridge that gap between secular and Christian music, but their lyrics still glorify God. They come from a place of faith through experience, but people in the secular world can listen to it, and maybe God can use that. And I truly think that this is why those bands are so important, is God can use that to bring people closer to him, using lyrics that glorify him. And that's just coming from a Christian perspective. Also from a more worldly perspective, I guess. Having lyrics that aren't like Infinite Annihilator, it's really cool to kind of get slightly more positive lyrics out there, because for lack of like stealing from August Burns Red, there is a huge place for angry music for happy people. Because I think after a time, if people, are just listening to brutal slamming deathcore or whatever, and they just are hearing about butchering people, whether they're Christian or not, it's not going to be good for their mental health in the long run. So we love seeing bands that do this, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
And this was when you were talking about songs in the album that kind of explore that idea of being aggressive in a way that maybe not, that you kind of have to, I guess, meditate on, like, is this okay or is it not, or maybe you have to change your way of thinking. Ironically, that made me think of an impending doom song also by the same name, because, and I apologize if that name offends aggressive, like, chaotic metalcore fans, because you're trying to avoid the chugging, but I'm bringing up impending doom. But they their song Hellhole, I'd give my life to punish yours, an imperfection that burns in me. Like, talking about people who live a wicked life and you just want to, be angry, you want to get rid of them, for lack of a better term, but you want to hate the act and not the person necessarily. It made me think of that. Like, it's a popular band in the space that is a type of lyric that is explored very well.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even know they had a song with that title, but that's cool.
They preemptively stole your name for your album, so I think we are going to have to contact some lawyer. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. Get them on the phone.
We got to change this right now.
Yeah.
Trademark. That's a verbal trademark.
They had no idea that in 2026 Peak was going to come out by the same name, so they're going to have to but we are at Firebrand HQ, and by HQ I mean my house in the South and his house in New York. But in HQ, we're very excited for what you got coming up.
Sweet.
And for fans who haven't heard already, you have, it's 4 songs on the upcoming album that are already out, 4 singles.
Yes. Yeah, 4.
Okay. Yeah, Concrete, Hate Club, Bliss, and the one that made me actually reach out to you. Just to clarify, I have been listening to your music for a while, or we both have, but I will kill the worst parts of myself. Lyrically and sound wise, I was like, all right, it's time to invite Mitch onto the show. So I do want to talk about it for a minute, because that one really impressed me. I mean, they all have, don't get me wrong, but that one got me excited.
Cool.
What inspired you to make that song specifically?
Yeah. So I was kind of dealing with a lot of turbulence in my life at that point. My employment situation was kind of up in the air. I was feeling really depressed. I was kind of really struggling to just kind of do basic things in my life as like a responsible adult. And I remember just like really being in like a depressed funk for a long time, and waking up from laying down to take a nap in the middle of the day, because I was like, I don't know what else to do. I like need a break, and kind of having this realization of like, I can't keep doing this. I know I can't keep doing this, but I don't know what else to do. And feeling like a weird sense of like energy at that point of like, okay, I can change something. I don't know what to change, but I can change something. And I know it's not all about like the things you can change, but I think something clicked there. I was like, well, there are things that I can do. I can't just blame all of my problems on like, wow, the job market, or like, oh, depression or whatever. Like, I think that's an easy trap to fall into, of thinking that all your problems are someone else's fault. And so that kind of became a thing of the start of me really trying to think of even small ways that I could just, kill the worst parts of myself. Take these bad habits that are actively hurting me and actually do something about it, and realizing that it's like, oh, I'm contributing to that. I'm contributing to my own depression. I'm contributing to my own like unhappiness by the things that I'm doing. Like you think in your mind, like, I need this nap. I need to cope. I need this, you can expand that to whatever. I need this drink. I need this, whatever. And then thinking, oh, I need this to cope. And then it's like, well, you're just making things worse. You're not actually coping. You're making the problem deeper.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of what that song is about. It's like this weird in between of feeling really inspired and like, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different. And then consequently feeling the other side of that of like, no, I'm not, I can't, like, what am I supposed to do? And I forget, if I've mentioned this publicly, or if I'd mentioned it on another podcast, but I think something that was in my head when I wrote it was like being on the cusp of two different paths, and feeling like, and maybe other people can relate to this feeling too, but like get busy living or get busy dying, like that kind of mentality of like, I'm kinda stuck in the middle. I'm like holding myself back from living life to the fullest. And yeah, I'm not actually taking any, like, I mean, this is a bad thought, but like, I'm not taking any steps to like end my life or anything. I'm not going down this bad path, but I'm also not going down this good path either. I kind of feel like I'm tripping myself up and holding myself back from doing anything. And so, yeah, I think the song was kind of about being stuck between the path to life and the path to death, and feeling like you're chasing both at the same time. So you're going nowhere. And yeah, so that's kind of what some of those lines, like, I want a chance, I want a coffin, is kind of like, I want these two different things. I want a chance to like get out of here and actually like be happy again and feel like I've found my place in the world and I'm like doing the things that I should be doing. And then part of it is like, well, I don't want to be here at all. Why would I want that? And I think sometimes it comes down to, well, if I can't have that, then I want the other. Or if I can't, I don't have all those thoughts fully fledged out in my mind, but I think that's kind of what was going through my head when I wrote it. Was kind of navigating all those paths and feeling like, all right, I need to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean,
Really cool.
Not cool that you went through that. I hope, I pray that you're able to, that you have or will get through that period of life, because I think everyone in one fashion or another has absolutely been there. And that's one of the reasons it clicked with me so well, is I absolutely adore when especially metal songs are able to articulate a moral good or a moral truth or something that we've all felt in such a brutal way. I will kill the worst parts of myself. That's such a brutal way of putting that. When I tell you, for like 2 weeks straight, I was listening to that song on my walk to the gym, and I guarantee more weight was lifted than wouldn't have if I hadn't.
Nice.
And thank you, by the way. As Mike's wearing a Demon Hunter shirt. That's my favorite band. No offense to Unworthy, but or you, but Demon Hunter is my favorite band, because that is one thing that they're great at, is like articulating thoughts I've had or moral truths through like brutal lyrics and stuff like that. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, all right, come here, Mitch. Well, we got to chat for an hour. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And so relating to Hellhole, what is one of the unreleased songs that you are most excited for people to hear? Hey, we'll get back to the awesome content in just a second, but if you like this epic shirt I've been wearing this whole time, and that epic shirt that dead corpse over there is wearing, then you'll want to go to firebrand-merchandise.myshopify.com, or the easier thing to do would be to go to the link in the description. And why don't you check out some of our epic merch? with the stringy deathcore font text. We got the Firebrand blue. Hold on, I'm gonna stand up. But you can check out what Mike's got. The Screamers for Scripture skeleton there.
I was just sleeping. I'm just so tired. Oh, I'm just so tired. Oh, sorry. I'm just stretching.
Oh,
So
tired.
So tired. Check out the Firebrand and Screamers for Scripture merch. Link in the description.
And if you don't, you won't have it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything.
if you don't buy the merch, you won't get it. Sorry.
You will not receive the merch.
Yeah. It's just how it goes.
If that were me,
I would want to receive it.
I'd want merch personally.
I would see that and I would be like, wow, Brandon's just so handsome with that shirt on. I want to be that handsome. I have to buy that shirt.
Yep. Back to the video.
Yeah.
If you can name them, I don't want to make you name.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if the track list is out yet, but
yeah. One of them is called Choke. It's the second song. I think guitar riff wise, it's one of the ones I'm most excited for. Yeah, it's one that I don't think we're going to be able to play live because it's just, at least for me, it's kind of complicated. It's a longer song. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's more complicated than you would think just kind of listening to it. And I think I need more practice as a vocalist before I can like do all that and have the breath control to do that. But anyway, it is one of my favorite songs. And it's about kind of it pulls on the passage where it talks about like it's better to have a millstone around your neck and be thrown into the ocean than to lead one of these little ones astray, that Jesus says. And it's about how that's become sort of commonplace in a lot of Christian denominations. And I think that it's unintentional for the most part. I think that there's a lot of people who are being misled or influenced by culture or influenced by whatever it is, but are kind of watering down the gospel in order to kind of placate people. And it's going back to that aggression concept we were thinking of. I think for me, this is one where it's like, it is treading the line of like, I'm angry at this. How angry am I? Like how am I getting too angry and not showing the correct amount of love and mercy for people who hypothetically I could call brothers in Christ, but who are preaching what I consider to be a false gospel. And so, I think that'll be interesting to see the response to that one. And I guess the moral of the song is like, it kind of plays on the phrase, it's a hard pill to swallow. It's much better to swallow the pill of the gospel, these hard truths that we sometimes run from. It's much better to do that than it is to kind of create your own workarounds and deny the gospel or say like, oh, it's outdated, or, it doesn't apply to modern day. And to kind of justify sin based on that is like, you're not helping anyone in the long run. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping anyone you're preaching to or talking to. And so, and then it also kind of plays on the phrase like choke on your words. Because it's like, it's a call to stop doing that. So I don't know. Not to be too clever. It's kind of like the swallow the pill, choke on your words, two different things, right? Same action. But yeah, I mean, for every song, it's like you have a limited amount of time to try to articulate what you're trying to say. And so you kind of have to make it just the most pointed thing that you can. You're not actually going to have enough time to unravel everything, or talk about it like we're talking about it now. So hopefully some of that comes through in the song and it doesn't seem so aggro that it's like not okay. But yeah, I think I wanted to, and I don't know, I didn't want to be too cliche. I think there's a lot of Christian songs about like false prophets or whatever. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of low hanging fruit. Um, but hopefully this puts that concept in a slightly different light.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I personally don't find it to be low hanging fruit, but I have personally joked that like Christian bands have one of three songs: the false prophet song, the killing demons song, and the like, I forgot what the third one was, but that's like one of two's types. Um, but I don't think it's because it's like, oh, it's easy to, um, scream at false prophets. I mean, it is, but I think having it verbalized in so many different ways and having so many different raw emotions sort of poured towards it, it really does make people think about it. And at least from my personal experience, having so many bands that I listen to have songs about that sort of thing and verbalizing it in so many different ways, um it made me think, who do I look up to that maybe doesn't preach out of the gospel and they just preach out of what they like, or they're avoiding parts of the gospel that maybe I should be hearing. um why does this Bible keep calling me fool? Who's this fool they're talking about now? But it um so I do love songs like that, because it really makes people think. Not only is there a justified, in my opinion, to an extent, there is a justified righteous anger towards these people because they're sort of perverting the word of God and manipulating people through that. But it makes me think, who have I looked up to or am looking up to that is doing that, and I have no idea. Like, I'm just letting them do it because I'm not getting, I need to be getting my word from the source and not just from someone I like. So no, I think that's, um I love seeing that kind of song. I'm really excited to hear that. And I mean, I'll let you know, I guess, if it's too angry. But I think you've been really great so far, so I doubt
I think it'll
hit
be
that.
fine. I think it's all right.
Yeah.
I have kind of a litmus test for that where I like read the lyrics to my wife, and if she's like, okay, I think that's fine, then I'm like, all right, we're good. Like her threshold for that kind of stuff is pretty low. So there was
Right.
actually there is one song where I had to change the lyric. She was like, that's too much. You can't put that in there.
Really?
Yeah, it's so I guess I can talk about it. It's one of the ones on the new album that's like, it's very fast. I actually wrote it before Pipe Bomb even started. Me and my brother were
Wow.
thinking about starting a band. There's kind of in like the like power violence type of subgenre. Think of like Nails and Weekend Nachos, like that kind of very, it's not quite grindcore, it's like more hardcore, but it's extremely fast kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
And so that's sort of what it sounds like. It's kind of like blast beats and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it's about our culture's obsession with celebrities and how we kind of elevate them to this level where their word, I wouldn't say becomes infallible, but it becomes this weird thing where we put them on a pedestal until they're not on the pedestal, and then we really like rip them down, and we treat them as being like superhuman in their good ways and their bad ways. And it's just weird. However, I feel like especially over the last like 5 to 10 years, and through social media, I feel like messages from celebrities have just been like getting plastered everywhere. And basically the song is about how that's dangerous to idolize celebrities and to get your sense of moral relativism from them. Because we're kind of getting preached at about a lot of different topics from celebrities and from people on social media. And it's tempting to kind of feel like either super angry if they say something you dislike, or super validated when they say something that you do like. And you're like, wow, they're so, it's tempting to think of them as being the authority when they're really not an authority on anything besides like whatever they do, whether it's acting or music or whatever. And so that's, in my mind, that's damaging to your soul when you let people like that create your convictions for you. And so I won't go through all the lyrics, but there's one part where the original lyric was kill your idols, kill yourself, meaning figuratively kill
Right.
yourself that has become your idol
Mhm.
because you're idolizing these celebrities and internally you want to become one.
Mm.
You see yourself as one of them, and that's why you let them kind of influence you so much.
Right.
And so it's essentially like have no idols above God, not even yourself. If you're making yourself into an idol, you need to tear that idol down. Um,
Absolutely.
Understandably, my wife was like, "Yeah, I don't know about that one." Um, I I changed it to kill your idols, kill your soul, meaning that there's slightly different meaning there, but like these letting other things influence you is killing your soul. Like it's important to pay attention who you listen to. It's important to pay attention to what what messages are coming into your brain. And if you let these things become idols, that will kill your soul. So it's like you have two
Yeah.
choices. You can either kill your idols or you can kill your soul, but one of them has to move. Um, and I think in general, like a lot of metal vocalists, I'm tempted to put whatever like the edgiest thing would be in a song because it hits hard.
Mhm.
But that's one example of like, all right, I'm gonna run this by my wife. I'm gonna run this by some friends and see what they think.
Yeah.
So now I think it's funny, but I could understand why some people would be upset if I like put that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say that's. I think I have the same opinion. That is hilarious, but I definitely could see how some people would be like, what do you mean?
What are we
I thought
talking
this was
about
a
again?
Christian band. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, I definitely think people reading the lyrics would be like, "Oh, well, I see what he means. This is looking at the rest of the lyrics." But on a first listen, most people aren't looking at the lyrics, so they might not even hear what the rest of the song's about, and then they get to I don't know if it's the chorus or whatever, but they get to one part, and then all of a sudden one part sticks out, and if that's the one part that sticks out, I guess that would be like where the risk lies.
Yeah.
But
And that's a balance too, of like
yeah,
you have to be a good steward of whatever platform you've been given. And it's not like I'm a big band by any means, but like I'm also not trying to I'm not trying to give God a bad name. I'm not trying to give myself a bad name. I'm not trying to say anything that would offend or hurt people unless it is like the gospel is offensive. So like that's going to be offensive to some people, but I'm not trying to put any of my own words out there where it's like I'm doing something harmful or I'm saying something stupid or, something I'll regret later that I put in a song for the sake of having it hit hard or something. It's just
right.
not worth it,
Yeah. That being said, though,
think
the
that's
topic
totally
of the
fair.
song is like getting more and more relevant as time moves forward, like you were saying. So I'm glad that we were able to you were able to like tweak it and still get that message out there.
Yeah, and there's a couple songs on the album that originated that same way. They were songs that I wrote before Pipe Bomb even started and had just been sitting on these demos. Bliss was one of those songs. So like, if you listen to Bliss, it feels quite a bit faster and heavier than other Pipe Bomb songs, maybe even like verging into a different genre of metal. So I think there's going to be a mix of that kind of thing on the new album.
That's super cool. I love that message. That's actually something that was being taught at my church this past Sunday was idols and how even good things can become idols and you need to limit how you see them. Like it literally can be something can be a gift from God and it can become an idol over God, like in Exodus when the Israelites, they got gold from Egypt when they left, and then they turned that gold into a golden calf that they praised over God. You do need to be wary of what, like Christians, non-Christians. I mean, Christians are the only ones who would be concerned about this, but still, it does apply to everybody. You need to be wary of what you're putting over God because praising whether it's intentional worship or not, putting anything over the infinite is extremely unwise. And oddly enough, I don't, and maybe I'm just not listening to the right songs, but oddly enough, that is actually a type of song or a subject I don't hear covered very much in the space. So I'm glad that that's something you wanted to explore.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
so
And I thought it was timely for a lot of things, like you were saying.
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully people listen to it and still aren't like, oh, that's too. Yeah. Hopefully it makes sense when people listen to it. So
But I love my political figure or my actor so much, I can't give them up. No.
yeah.
um, that does lead me talking about lyrics that are or titles that are too much or whatever. Um, I this is the question I was most excited for, and I'm sorry if the answer's already out there, but I need to ask it myself. Why is it called Pipe Bomb? Why is the band called Pipe Bomb?
I mean, short answer, it just sounded cool.
It does.
It
It
really
does.
does. Absolutely.
I mean, that's the main reason, to be honest. And I think like there are a lot of bands that like, I mean, I realize this for myself. If a band sounds cool and I don't like their name, I'm like, I mean, I guess I'll listen to them, but it's like something about that. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want to listen to it. If their name isn't cool, that's like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, when I
Same.
was thinking about Pipe Bomb, I think like I had been watching a documentary about the Unabomber and they mentioned him making pipe bombs. And I was like, that's a cool band name. I can't think of anyone who has that band name already, which is like, that's a big thing. Like, there've been so many times I've like thought of a cool band name. And it's like, oh, someone got it already. Okay. I'm not going to do that.
Mm,
So that was one where I was like, yeah, this might actually work. And yeah, I mean, when I started Pipe Bomb, I was not thinking this far ahead. I was just like, I have one demo. I need a name for that demo. I'm going to put out that demo. Probably no one is going to listen to it. And then I'll just be on with my way. And so to my surprise, people actually listened to it. That was false god when I put that out. But yeah, I mean,
mhm.
my friend Brett and my friend Steven both sent it to Sean at Kingdom Core and he shared it. And that kind of like jump started things to where I was like, oh, maybe I should make some more songs because I have no other songs ready. It definitely was not a, I see a lot of bands that are like drop their first single and they're like more on the way and they kind of have all their like photos ready. And this was not that at all. This was like, oh, I have one demo I mixed and mastered myself on my computer. I don't know what I'm doing. It's on Bandcamp now. Go listen to it. And then, from there I've had to be like, oh shoot, I have to think about like content and like getting photos, do all that stuff after the fact. Which can be fun, but it's a lot of work to like think about the strategy behind it as opposed to like, yeah, here's a song, I'm just going to put it out. But yeah, long answer. I watched a documentary, thought Pipe Bomb sounded cool, looked it up. Nobody had that name. And I was like, here we go. That's my name.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think this was a while back now, but I was playing games with friends, Michael being one of them. And I was like, I found this Christian band called Pipe Bomb. And, sometimes I'll bring up names or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, cool. But that name, like, immediately erupted everyone and, like, oh my gosh, that name is perfect. Like,
Yeah.
it's
definitely
it's so
iconic.
attention grabbing.
Cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad. That's exactly what I wanted. So,
Okay, good. You have achieved that for sure. It does also fit like sound wise, just in my opinion, because the music is so like explosive. Like, it starts and it's like boom, it's immediately going, and then you get to the breakdown, and it's like another boom or whatever. I'm sure you're more familiar with how that artistically works than I am, but just as an outsider looking in, I was like, I couldn't articulate it, but I was like, this is Pipe Bomb. Like that name fits. I can't say why, so that's why I still ask. But I was like, that's Pipe Bomb. That just makes sense to me.
yeah. I mean, I was hoping for something that kind of went hard and to create music that kind of went hard. But yeah, it'd be a little weird if I was like, oh, my name's Pipe Bomb and it's like indie rock or something like that. But yeah.
CCM.
That I would be tempted to listen to a band called Pipe Bomb if it was like if Brandon Lake made like change his name to Pipe Bomb. I'd be like, well, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a shot.
That would be awesome. That's actually a phenomenal idea. Yeah, I think someone should try that. Although the pipe bomb is taken, they got to think of something else.
Yeah, that one's mine. You gotta pick something else.
I will say I love the name. I will say in preparation, I went to look at other podcasts and stuff, and I couldn't find any on YouTube because I looked up pipe bomb band podcast or something like that, and it was, courtroom footage, body cam footage, security cam footage, and I was like, oh right, I forgot. This is a thing. It's not just a name.
Yeah, it's a little tough with like the SEO aspect of like finding bands, or even like with the newest single called "I Will Kill the Worst Parts of Myself" and with the band name being Pipe Bomb, I was like, this is a disaster to try to like promote this on TikTok. And I've like had a lot of problems with like engagement being really whack recently, and someone was like, yeah, I mean, your name is like, I'm sure there are limits for things that will like suppress like things with the word kill in it or with the word bomb in it. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's like buzzword central.
Yeah. And it also makes it so preparing for like the live shows, we've been joking around about like what are the funny things we could say like on stage or like to promote like a show. Someone call 911 because there's a pipe bomb in the building, like things like that where it's like, there's no way we can do that, but like that's very funny to me.
That would be so
or even
funny.
like I think Brett posted something because we're playing audio feed. Or actually, maybe he was talking about the Undead Revival Festival. It was one of those where he like commented on the things like, "There's going to be a pipe bomb in your city this October." I was like, "No, Brett." But like that stuff's always fun to like mess around with. But
that's asking for a free CIA guardian angel to be watching over your shoulder.
Yeah, the TSA agent in the chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not TSA, FBI. I'm getting my acronyms all messed up.
I can't imagine the TSA would be much nicer if you're...
Yeah.
I mean, if we were like ever got to the point where we were touring internationally, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a nightmare. We can't put pipe bomb on any cases,
luck.
no merch. Like there was no way we were getting onto a plane with that.
Yeah. You'll have to go by a acronym PB. We're peanut butter. We're and no logos that represent the real thing is gonna have to be strict for a while.
Yeah.
It's like at the merch table.
But all the
like,
local shows,
sorry, you gotta get all this stuff online. We couldn't bring it.
Yeah, I mean, I still warn people online. I'm like, hey, don't wear this to the airport. Like, one guy sent me a picture of he wore the pipe bomb hat in his Costco membership photo, and I'm like, that's sick. That is awesome.
I will say this is a little off topic, but that long sleeve and that like the pipe bomb hat, the snap, I don't know if it's a snapback or what, the trucker hat or whatever with it was like the Marlboro Red logo or whatever, but said the pipe bomb. Those two things, the T doesn't have my size and the hat is sold out. That made me, I like shed a tear when that happened because I legitimately wanted one. But you do have some fire merch, I will say. That is
Thanks,
that is something I was gonna say. Like for you, we were talking about a band having a good name. I've definitely experienced that too. There are bands that I have legitimately just started listening to because I love their name or their logo. But that's as petty as I've gotten. Is I will legitimately start listening to a band because I'm like, oh, this is the coolest shirt I've ever seen. I got to get into this band so that I can get that shirt and justify. If a TikToker comes up to me and goes, name 3 songs from this band, I got to be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Quick,
Well, that's kind of how I started listening to Nails. It's like I saw their merch. I'm like, that is very cool. And then I listened to the band and I was like, that's very cool. So it's nice when that matches up. There are definitely bands where it's like, oh, their merch is so cool, but like I can't listen to them, and so I can't justify buying anything from them. But it's nice when it works out that way. Yeah,
I remember being at I know people are going to call me posers now, but I remember being at Hot Topic at one point, or some store where they sell that kind of merch, and they had like a Sleep Token shirt or hoodie or something, but it didn't have the name like directly on it, or it was somewhere hidden. I was like, oh, that's cool. What band is that? And I like searched it, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah. Can't
Not
do
trying
it.
to hate too hard. Not trying to hate too hard, but I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Can't be
But
seen
no,
with
I
this
completely
on.
relate to that. Like, oh, yeah, I can't be seen in public wearing this. um, but no, I love the merch. And so, and I know this is like kind of an awkward segue, but this is just a separate question. Have you guys never played live before, like yet at all?
Yeah. So, I, as a full pipe bomb set, no, we have not played live.
Okay.
I also play bass in a band called Plead the Widow's Cause. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah. So we did like a soft launch of pipe bomb during the Plead the Widow's Cause set.
Okay.
Because I've known most of those guys for like a long time. And so, like Brett, who shared Pipe Bomb when it started, it's like he's in that band. I've known him for a while. I've known Ian for like, I don't know, 12 years probably at this point. I've known Matt for 12 years. You know, we go way back. So they were very into like Pipe Bomb, and they've been like a big part of getting Pipe Bomb to the point where it's like, oh, we can do a live show, just because they were like, yeah, we want to play it. And I was like, okay, cool. This is great. So we learned False God and have been playing that during our plead sets. And it's really easy because it's like me and Ian just switch. I give him the bass and then I take the mic. And
Okay.
so yeah, that's been really fun. And it's cool because like it's definitely a different thing, you know, like it's adjacent to plead, like they're comparable. But there's definitely a different energy to pipe
And
bomb. So like
plead is more like post-hardcore. Is that the term? Something like that?
yeah,
So
I mean it's
adjacent but separate.
it's more melodic. I
Okay.
think even the heavier like hardcore songs they have more structure to them. So they're not like soft by any means. Like they're still a heavy
Right.
band. But it just has a different energy to it. And so being able to like kind of test drive pipe bomb in that sense has been really cool. And yeah, I mean, I think we've all had fun with it. So yeah, then that was the start of like, oh, we could add more songs and like do an actual pipe bomb set. So it's like an experiment for sure. We're like figuring it out as we go. But yeah, we have plenty of time to audio feed. And so we're kind of working on different songs and figuring out what works. And yeah, we're definitely excited for that.
An audio feed is your first like full pipe bomb set?
Yep. Yeah, first show.
And when is that for the viewers at home?
July 4th weekend. We are playing that Friday. I don't know if that's the 3rd or the 4th. I don't know when that is, but that Friday of that weekend is when we are playing.
Well, I don't know what would be more American than listening to Pipe Bomb on the 3rd or the 4th. But no, in all seriousness, that's awesome. I'm hoping to catch you guys at Undead. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to make it, but I'm hoping they'll be able to shake your hand or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And listen to the band. That's also important. But that's so cool. Did you ever think it would get far enough to be played live, or were you just like, I'm putting out whatever I want?
That was never like my anticipation of doing live shows. I was kind of, I mean, I'm 33. I was in like a bunch of local bands before. I was in bands that like toured around a decent amount before. And so when I made Pipe Bomb, I was kind of like, I had very low expectations. I was like, I just had songs and I was like, well, I'd rather someone hear them than no one hear them. So I'm just going to record them and put them out. So thinking that far ahead, it would stress me out, like thinking about the logistics of like putting together a tour, putting together a live band. And I was like, man, I felt kind of burnt out with like local music, to be honest, when I started it. And I was like, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to like give this an actual shot, but I'm at least going to start putting some songs out. And so, Yeah, for the most part, like I don't think about playing songs live really at all when I write songs. I'm just like, what
Mm,
fits? What do I want here? Like, what's the song that needs to be made? I'll make that song. And
mm,
then if we can figure out how to play it live and figure out how to do all that, then we will. If not, then we won't. And we'll just play, other songs. So yeah, that was kind of my perspective going into this, which now we're kind of paying for because like some of the tunings are really stupid. There are some songs where it's like, this is like, I don't want to tune down to drop B just for one song, but I put it in drop B for the album because it just fit better,
right.
stuff like that. And I think that'll be kind of a learning curve going forward of like how to maybe plan for that without trying too hard to be like, oh, what would go hard live versus like, what's the song that I think needs to be made? Um,
Mm,
but yeah, I didn't really have any serious, like, I mean, I had hopes that like we'd be able to tour. I had hopes that things would pop off a little bit and that, things would happen. But I'm just trying to roll with it. I think it's more fun that way. I think, like, obviously, I want to plan for things and I don't want to let things flop or just not think
right.
ahead. But like, it's definitely possible to like do that too much to where it's not fun anymore. And then you kind of overanalyze everything and you get caught up in the logistics of things instead of like, oh, music is fun. I want to make
Hmm.
fun music because it's like the money is not there enough to be like, this is a career. This is what I need to think more about this so that I can make money from it. It's like, no, if it's not fun, you'd be way better off just like working in IT or something, like, um,
Yeah,
so I try to keep that in mind of like, keep it fun, um, and just do the best you can, like, I don't
for
know.
sure.
Yeah. And it's tricky, like being envious of other bands who like
Mm,
have more of a solid, like they have a van and they're like playing festivals all the time. It's like, we don't have a van. I have my 2012 Kia Sorento. That's what I have.
well,
So
that's a
it's
good
like,
car. So I think you're the real winner.
it's, and it's like, we kind of started things on a whim. We put the lineup together just because it's like, oh, this works, like, I'm trying to keep things fun. I'm trying to not be too envious of other people who are like getting more streams or getting more views or, like,
Mm,
that's a quick way to burn out. So
yeah,
and that's my natural tendency is to be like, what are other people doing? How can I be more like,
right.
how can I level up? And I have to like actively fight against that so I don't like ruin pipe bum for
Yeah,
myself. Um, but anyway, to answer your question, no, I did not anticipate playing live shows anytime soon. I had hopes and hopefully it would happen and it will happen. It is happening. So, um, yeah, I'm excited.
that's awesome. It's it's wherever the bomb lands per se. um, but
Oh,
uh, the band, Pipe Bomb. Um, that is super cool though, and that makes a lot of sense because if you kind of focus on the, for lack of a better term, boring side of the band, then the heart is going to leave. And if you're able to keep focusing on what are the lyrics that inspire you the most, and they translate well to the medium you're going for, it ends up making the best music anyway. At least from my, being an outsider looking in. I have a guitar in my background, but I do not play guitar. There's a story behind it, but that's for another day. I don't know much about music. But being on the outside looking in, that's what it seems like to me, is you want to keep the heart and not be like, okay, how can we optimize streams? How can we optimize yada yada yada? So that makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm really glad that you're able to be consistent with that.
yeah. And I try to make, I don't know. I do the same thing everyone else does where it's like, it's 2026. You have to like make content and stuff like that. But I try to make
Hmm.
stuff that I enjoy. Um, I don't want to do like, I'm not trying to like dance around or do any like dumb TikTok trends or anything. Like I try to just like play the songs and do things I enjoy and hopefully other people like it too. But yeah, you got to find stuff like that to make it, to be
Right.
consistent. Yeah.
That is fair. It would be hilarious if you did like the trend where everyone does like the Five Nights at Freddy's going back and forth, but to one of your songs, like, um,
That would
but
come off as pretty
no, the
schizophrenic,
content
I
you do
think.
put out, that's that's fair. If I think if a band named Pipe Bomb started posting that, people would have even more questions than they already have.
Yeah.
I will say the posts you do make do give me a good laugh. And so I think you are like, that is something I see a lot of bands do, is they make the music they love, and then for some people it's a chore, some people it comes naturally depending on what their background is. They post like very consistently the music they do, and I do see that works, so I'm glad you do that. But it's not like it's affecting your music, at least again from the outside looking. It's not like it's affecting your the heart or the work behind it. So that's cool. That's a good way to promote.
And if you do too much, sometimes it can like, especially for like metal and stuff, like there's like a cringe factor to that. So like if you do too much, you can kind of undo any of the cool points you've kind of managed to make. Like if people think your music is cool, but then like you make a video that's not, they're like, if you have merch that's cool and then you say something that's not cool, they're like, like,
right.
You have to stay authentic. And you have to market your music, but you have to do it authentically. You can't like do it in an inauthentic way, because then people are going to see right through it.
Right. That's totally fair. Sorry. Mike, you're lagging a touch, so I thought you were going to say something, but that was from like 2 seconds ago. So anyway, sorry.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. We're getting to the tail end of the conversation. Oh, it's been an hour. Okay, we're getting to the tail end of the conversation here. But so thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We are both super stoked to see what comes out of it's your first album, right? It's your first full length. We're super stoked to hear what comes out of that. If I'm going to censor this if I shouldn't say it, but if you want a Pipe Bomb in your mailbox, order the Hellhole vinyl, or never mind. I probably should censor that. But it was an absolute pleasure to have you on again.
Absolutely.
I have one last question for you. Are you comfortable ending today's episode off in prayer?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready.
Cool. God, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be on this podcast and to talk with these guys and to kind of break down some of the songs, break down how we're feeling about, I don't know, the music scene, the state of the world. I pray that you would use this podcast to reach people who might not have otherwise known about Pipe Bomb or this podcast. I pray that you would reach people who are possibly grappling with their idea of creation, of heaven and hell. I pray that you would soften people's hearts as they as they hear this. I pray that you would break down all the barriers that keep people away from you, and that you would show people that it's that this band, that this podcast, that this music scene, that the church in general is not just a set of rules. It's not this kind of like spirit energy that a lot of people attribute to the universe, but it's a relationship. It is a covenant that you have instituted through the blood of your own son. I pray that people would see how loved they are. I pray that they'd be able to resonate with this conversation we've had and with the music, and I pray that you would reach them. I pray that you encourage anyone who already believes in you. And yeah, I just pray that you would use all of these platforms for your glory, that we wouldn't get ourselves in the way, that we wouldn't get too focused on the weeds of it all, but that you would take all the glory for yourself. And I just thank you that we even have the opportunity to do this in the first place. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, dude. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Wow, what a phenomenal episode and a wonderful prayer from Mitch at the end. I am low-genuinely, is that what the kids say nowadays? Like, I'm low-genuinely excited for the new album.
Now, you're alone on this one, bro. I am high-key excited for this album because it's going to be absolutely amazing. Don't forget, mark your calendars this month on the 18th. That album is dropping, so be prepared.
And if you're watching this after March 18th and you haven't heard it yet, I fear you're a loser and a poser if you don't listen to it.
You're just not. Yeah, sorry. But of course, I know that you would never do that because you always listen to Screamers for Scripture from Firebrand. And so you're on the ball and you know to mark your calendar for
Yeah.
March 18th.
You're elite. You listen to all the bands we recommend because you know that our taste is immaculate, calculated, and we can predict your wants. And we know that you want to eliminate your idols and kill the worst parts of yourself. So you will listen to Hellhole by Pipe Bomb.
We know that you love Jesus, so clearly you're going to be there.
Exactly. We're the worst ad readers of all time. We have.
We're going to get like a call. It's like, yo,
okay,
stop advertising my stuff, okay?
Yeah. People are not listening. People are avoiding it thanks to you. In genuineness, in sincerity, we are really stoked on it. And if you like
Absolutely.
the heavy stuff, if you like the fast stuff, you'll want to check it out. And thanks again to Mitch for hopping on with us. It was an awesome conversation. And remember, God made you special.
And he loves you very much.
Bye-bye.